very first time I came to Malala was in 1975 on a hot day, hot northerly wind blowing. My brother and I, we were sitting in the front of my dad's brown Dodge Ute as he was in the council office doing his business because we had purchased the property here in Malala. And my brother and I looked at each other and said, we don't want to move here. We were going to be moving from our home that we knew in the Adelaide Hills, which was green and leafy, and moving down to the Adelaide Plains, and we had no choice. We adapted. It was a bit hard at first, but it was this town that has actually given me the mindset that I've got today. When I moved to Malala, I was only 10, and I moved from the Adelaide Hills, and my school at the time was a little tiny school which was actually at the back of the old church in a little place called Ironbark, which now no longer exists as a school owning a church. So of course when I arrived in Malala, I arrived at a school which was a little bit bigger, and I had to make the adjustments, which was quite hard. I'm in the school grounds now, and obviously with time they've done developments to accommodate for the growing community, which is fantastic. But if you can imagine coming from a school with 19 kids to walking into this area was a little bit daunting, and having friends back home and having no friends here. But of course, as you do, you try and make friends, and I did. I made some really cool friends, and some of these friends are still my friends today. But it was daunting. That's all I can say. But we made memories, made a lot of memories, and Mr. Arthur was the principal. He was really cool. There were a few other teachers that were really cool as well. And then when I left here, I then went to Balaclava High School, and we had to jump on the school bus. In Malala, Mum had to bring me into town, and we had to travel the back roads, dusty, no air conditioning, hot seats in summer. I can just imagine Sharon McArdle laughing because she used to wear dresses and I used to wear jeans all the time. But that's irrelevant. We had fun, we made memories, we learnt, we put our head down and our bum up, and we did what we have to do as kids and adults, and that is adapt to our environment and make the most of it. Alrighty, let's go on to my next memory. So we're now out on Aerodrome Road, or Owen Road, whichever one you wanted to call it back then. And all these trees along here weren't here. We actually planted them along with some other trees out on Balaclava Road as a community project. And they're a little bit bigger now. We're actually heading out to where I grew up. I used to ride my horse along here into town. It was a pretty good upbringing. At the end of the bitumen is also the Malala Raceway, which used to be the old airfield base back in the war. Victoria Nichols, actually, she spent some time in Malala. From Victoria Nichols from the Sale of the Century, for anyone that remembers that. And the aerodrome actually used to be covered in weeds and had some mess halls, and yeah, I had my 18th birthday in the mess hall, which was pretty cool. And here is my driveway of my house that I grew up in. Now, the really interesting story about this, I'm just going to get out I want to just explain something. Just bear with me, and I'm going to pop out the car. Some beautiful wattle there. So, as you can see all around me, it's cereal growing country. Cereal growing country basically is this whole area of the Adelaide Plains. But when we first moved here, my father actually said to somebody, I'm going to put lucerne in. I'm going to put a bore down and I'm going to put lucerne in. And this paddock here used to be our lucerne paddock. I'm not going to go up to my old house because I don't know the people that live there. But obviously they still have a little bit of irrigation because there is some of the sprinklers. I don't know if you can see out in the back there, but there's a mound. And that was a swimming pool for us kids. It was actually a dam, 3 times the size of an Olympic swimming pool. We had trout in there. We had our chaff mill there, Malala Fodder Company, which actually burnt down at one stage. And all these trees along here, I remember planting them with my brother and my dad and my mum. So there you go. I used to ride up and down this road on my horse. And then across the road, which we'll see in a minute, is the Malala Raceway. And as I said, that used to be the airfield. And then Clem Smith, the late Clem Smith, he purchased it and turned it into a raceway. And it still is to this day. Small town economies rely on not only locals supporting small business and industry, but also tourism. And what the community has done to promote tourism and motorsport and the Malala Raceway, even back in the day when I was a lot younger and involved with the Lions Club and the Country Fire Service, has been remarkable. And this motorsport park has actually put Malala on the map. So of course money then dribbles back into the local economy. It employs local people. So hats off to the community of Malala to embrace the opportunity for tourism and bring people in. I'm standing in the main street of Malala, and I want to take you on a bit of a journey. And this is going to explain to you why I am so passionate about small town survival and why we must support our small businesses and how big business can come in and have an absolute impact on our economy and socially. Alrighty, so here we go. So the shop that we're looking at here, that used to be our butcher shop. We've come down the road a little bit and we're now looking at what is now a residence. That used to be a general store, haberdashery store. They sold milk, newspapers, magazines, bibs and bobs. Then next door to that is actually where my journey started when I was 15. Now, what we're looking at now is a takeaway store, but that used to be the bakery, the Malala Bakery. And next door to that used to be Alga's agency. I left school to work in this shop here at 15. I then went back and I bought that shop when I was 19. If we go down a little bit more, we'll just bypass the supermarket for a minute. Right on the corner there, behind those cars, and where it's now a car park, used to be an old stone building, and that was the original supermarket. And then one day, this supermarket was built. Back then it was Foodland, but now it is IGA. As we come across here, where is now a rotunda, that used to be Mr. Reed's fruit and veg shop. And at the back you can see the Malala Hotel. Let's just come back to the IGA, to the supermarket for a moment. When I was 19, this was being built, and I heard that the people who owned the supermarket were going to have bread on special as an opening special. So of course, remember, I owned the bakery. So I went next door and I said to the man who owns it still, please don't put on special products that all of us small businesses in town sell. Put toilet paper, dog food, tomato sauce, whatever, but please don't put on special bread, milk, meat, fruit and veg, so forth. Well, let's fast forward to now, and guess what? He did. Remember, that used to be the bakery and the agency where you could go in and buy all sorts of things. Now, admittedly, Mr. Alga, God bless his soul, he is now, well, he retired, he's now passed on. But he started that bakery, which I ended up buying when I was 19. I had to diversify my business to stay afloat because of the challenge that that supermarket gave me as a small business operator. So what I did is I created a milk war, a bread war, an ice cream war, and a chocolate war. Remember, I was 19. That was a few decades ago. From here, I actually went on and I purchased other shops and a catering business in Adelaide. I was very fortunate because I had great support from my family and I was able to have great mentors along the way, including Lucille Orr. The reason why I am so passionate about small business and small town survival and not going to big supermarkets is exactly this story that was entrenched into me that day when I was 19. I was very lucky because I'm just going to turn this camera around a little bit now, and I'm going to show you a building which is now part of the council, and that used to be the Westpac Bank. The Westpac Bank had an absolute stronghold for banking in the sector. Obviously they've left, so where they do their banking now, I don't know. But I had a great bank manager. His name was Mr. McDonald, and he was fabulous. He used to come over and have a cup of coffee with me because I was only a young person in business, and he mentored me financially. Doesn't happen anymore. Then of course we have the local pub, and that used to be the hub of the community, and that's why I am so passionate about local hotels as the gathering place. And we all used to have a great night there, whether it be with families or as I grew up as a young person, and then being able to be old enough to drink in the pub. It was a real community environment, a real family environment. So if you've ever wondered why I'm really passionate about small business and small town survival, this is why. It's because of a little town that I came to in 1975, and then when I was 19, what this supermarket did to my little business, and we see it all the time. Please support your small businesses. Go and visit a small town and just do our bit for the economy.